Well, hey there everyone, Laurel here today with a special video as I'm taking part in a video hop. Mica is celebrating 3,000 YouTube subscribers, so she's put together a fun hop with lots of artists and giveaways. So be sure to check the description below to find all the information that you'll need. In today's video, I'm going to be doing some die cut techniques, and we're going to do using one die cut, 6 ways to use one die cut. And this is the die cut we're going to be using. This is the leaf medallion die from Altenew. It's 2 pieces here, so you have the inside and the outside. That's what I'm going to be referring to. The outside is that outline die. So you can use it together, like I did right here, or you can use it by itself. You can also not remove all of the bits like I've shown here to the right, and we'll be using a technique with that in just a bit. You can also simply die cut the inside like I did here, and that could be a card all by itself. If you wanted to go ahead and use the outside part of the die, at this point you would simply line it up and run it through your die cutting machine, and then it will give you the die cut image. We're going to be using this die in several different ways in today's video. So 6 different ways to use one die. Are you ready? Before I get into it, I hope you're a subscriber. If you're not, click on that subscribe button right down there in the right-hand corner. Okay, let's get started with the DIY stencil. I've already gone ahead and die cut it. I just die cut that on some regular cardstock, and I'm adhering that down with some Thermoweb purple tape onto some cardstock as well. I am working inside a shoebox. I think it's important to contain all of your mess. My shoebox is lined with some very loved paper towels. This is some Nuvo mica mist. I love it because it's shimmery and beautiful because it's filled with mica powder. The exact colors I'm using will be linked below in the supply list, along with everything else that I'm using in the order that it appears on the video. So I'm going in with 2 different colors. I'm spraying from far above, I'm spraying from up close. I really want to make sure that the spray is going through my DIY stencil there. So once I have my spray in there, I am going to take my Wow dual speed heat gun. This is new to me. It has 2 different speeds. The first speed is a lower setting, so it's good for drying your watercolors. And that second speed is for heat embossing, so it's a stronger output of heat. And I will show you that setting in just a bit. So I went ahead and peeled up my DIY stencil. I'm going to finish drying that off. And then the panel there to the right, I did it the exact same way, just with some black cardstock. I wanted to show you that this mica spray works on dark cardstock as well. It's really quite pretty. So I went ahead and did the same thing and peeled up the DIY stencil, which we're going to use as a card in just a second. I wanted to see if you could heat emboss over this spray, and you can. So I went ahead and stamped a sentiment, and I with some with the Wow embossing pad. I'll show you that in a minute. And sprinkled on some embossing powder and heat set it. And here's the first card, which I really think is quite pretty. For the second card, I went ahead and heat embossed a white sentiment onto some black cardstock and cut it to size and just adhered that straight over my card. So pretty. Now remember that DIY stencil that got all nice and watercolor? Check that out. I dried it with my heat tool and I mounted it to a gray card base and stamped a sentiment. So I got 3 cards from one sitting in little to no time at all, using the die cut and some shimmer spray, right? I think this is really quite pretty. All right, technique number 2, DIY metallic embellishment. This is the die cut where I use both the inside and outside. This is the Wow embossing pad. It's slower drying, so you're able to work, you know, without being so rushed, which I appreciate. This is some Bang embossing powder from Wow, and let me tell you, bang, this really packs a punch. So I went ahead and pressed my die cut panel onto the pad, and then I sprinkled on some of that embossing powder. Now this is the gun I'm using in heat setting 2, because the second setting is for heating your embossing powders. So I'm going to go ahead and press my pad again. I gave it like 10 seconds to make sure the embossing powder wasn't so hot. And then I pressed my pad into the panel again, sprinkled on more of that Bang, and look at that. Bang, 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 bang. Look at that silver shining through. Oh my goodness. This video just does not do this powder justice. This is so pretty, and they have so many different colors and so many different blends. It's really quite pretty. Teal is like my favorite color if you don't know already, so I mean, hello, of course I'm going to go for this one. But anyway, it's so stinking pretty. Now this is a die cut just onto some regular cardstock. I didn't die cut it several times and glue it on top of each other for dimension. I didn't do any of that. Look at that. Just pause and go, ah, that was pretty. It's just one piece of cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out how I want to orient my card panel there. This is some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I love it. It dries clear. It's got a precision tip, and it's super duper strong glue. And you get a bunch in there. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down once I figure out which way I want my card to go. And I usually kind of stick an acrylic block or something over the top for just 10 to 15 seconds to make sure that glue is good and pressed in to that panel. At this point, I decided to orient my card differently. I don't know why, whatever. So I went ahead and die cut a little bit, or not die cut, hello. I used my paper trimmer, cut it at a diagonal, and then I'm cutting off all the excess of that die that was hanging off the cardstock. Enter my Scotch foam dimensional tape. I love this stuff because you just kind of tear it with your hands, you peel off the backing paper. I'm like throwing the paper, the trash over my shoulder at this point. You know how like throwing salt over your shoulder is supposed to be good luck? Well, I'm throwing paper over my shoulder. Maybe I'll get some good luck, I don't know. So I went ahead and popped that up. So it's kind of like black on black here. At this point, I'm using my embossing tool buddy. I forget what this is called. I never can remember what this little guy is called, but it basically puts down a powder so I don't have embossing powder sticking all over the place. This is some Alabaster white embossing powder. I've had this white embossing powder forever, and I do love it. I love it. It's my favorite white. Again, wow, dual heat speed gun, and 2, and it heats really fast. Like, I don't have to preheat this gun either like I had to with a previous gun. It takes like 5 seconds and we're good to go. I don't know why I just clapped there, but I did. I was like, yee. I don't know why. Anyway, so then you just brush off the powder with a rag or something, and then here's this card. Look at it. Look at that panel. It's so pretty. I love it. All right, moving on to the next technique, faux foiling. You guys know I love some foiling, but sometimes I don't want to grab heat. I don't want to do all that stuff, right? So I'm going to use the die cut panel where I didn't get out all the inner bits. You can totally take it all out if you want to, but I didn't want to. This is some Pixie spray from Thermoweb. It's very new. So I shook it, sprayed it, gave it about 30 seconds. It dried tacky. So I am sticking that down. I'm trying it out for the first time, and that baby stayed in place, let me tell you. I'm a fan of the Pixie spray. This is some Deco foil Metallix, right? And champagne mist. This color, I've already used it before in a video. I want to eat this. It's like caramel, melted caramel. It's so pretty. This goes on, it glides on so smooth. There's no texture mixed up in there or anything. It's not grainy. It's just smooth. I'm using one of my Nuvo palette knives to spread that through, or media spatulas, I believe it's called. I do have a video I'm linking right above where I kind of talk about this palette knife in case it's something that interests you. And I'm just spreading that through. And then I'm going to peel it up and look at that. Now, because I left some of those insides in, you know, I got a totally different look right there, right? So then I decided to take white pearl and go over the, I'm just using a paper towel I found in the garbage, like legit, because I didn't want to have to clean it up later. But anyway, I'm just going over the outside, like the white that didn't have the champagne mist on it. I wanted to add the white pearl just so it's nice and beautiful and shiny. It all kind of goes together. I'm mixing it in a bit. I don't know. I'm just having a good old time here. And then wipe your palette knife off. If you're using a stencil, go ahead and wash that off. Don't let this stuff dry on there. But once it's dry, it really gives a beautiful faux foiled look. And I'll show you close up in just a second. I went ahead and adhered, or die cut, and adhered a hello down. Then I decided, listen, that die was very matte and the rest of the card was so shiny and sparkly. So I'm using my Nuvo pen here with some clear glitter in it and adding that on. And then I decided I wanted to flick some of that on there. So I'm flicking some of that on too. And the shine from this card, from the Metallix gel, truly looks like I foiled that. And it also gave you some dimension. So all I did was offset this die just a little bit when I adhered it down. So you're getting the base layer that we put down with the champagne mist, and then you're getting the top. So it's just really pretty. I truly like it. So for faux foiling, people. And last but certainly not least, I did some dry embossing. All I did to create that embossed panel was I ran it through my Gemini Junior, but this time I put like 3 to 4 pieces of cardstock. Like, and it acted basically like a shim, and it impressed this image and no problem. So whatever machine you have, you can Google the sandwich that you'll need for dry embossing with the die cut. But that's all I did. Just added some cardstock for a shim, and there you go. So I'm going in with some Distress Oxides in a rainbow color, of course. I am using a new blending tool to me. This is the Nuvo blending tool. It's got a nice, long, wide handle for me to hold on to, so it feels better on my hand when I'm holding it. So there I'm getting mad because did you see me hold my hand up like I was like, ugh, because I got my fingerprint up there in the left-hand corner with that Distress Oxide ink. I do this all the time. I am not redoing this card. That is not going to happen. So I'm going to keep on going with my plan here of the rainbow, and then I'm going to figure it out later. So I am using the same sponge as you can see here. And in between colors, I am kind of wiping it off on a paper towel. That's not ideal. You know, usually I don't mix my colors together. It seemed to work just fine. But normally I would use a different sponge for a different color, but whatever. Guess I was having a lazy day. When am I not? So here I am going in with the purple. That completes my rainbow anyway. And I'm going to cover up that little boo-boo up there in the top left-hand corner. I can't believe I did that, but it's great because I needed to add purple anyway for the colors of the red, yellow, orange, green, blue. Don't forget the purple too. Okay, so anywho. So now that I've got all my colors on here, I lost my blue when I added the purple, so I'm going to go back in and accentuate. It's easy to add color. It's harder to take color away, so keep that in mind when you're doing any kind of ink blending. Maybe go in with the light hand first, and then you can always go in and deepen your colors. It's oxides. It reacts to water beautifully, so I did spritz on some water with my hand. Loving the paper towels today, apparently, so I'm going to dab up the excess water, and look at my water splotches. Oh, yeah. Now, because this is dry embossed, there was no way I was using an acrylic block for my sentiment. I did not want to mess my card up. So this is my Misty stamping tool, and this is some new black ink to me. It's a VersaFine Clair in Nocturne, I believe. And I'm glad I used my Misty because I did need to go ahead and ink it up and stamp it again. Because it's dry embossed, it's not an even surface. So if I had used my acrylic block, I would have messed up. So thank you, Misty stamping tool. All right, so once that was good and dry, I'm going in with a white gel pen and just filling in the outlines of those letters with some white. Really, that's all I'm doing. And then I'm going to flick on some black. I don't know why. Let's add some more flicks. Why don't you flick, flick, flick? I'm a water flicking fool, you know what I'm saying? And that's this card. Look at that. It kind of looks like there's a halo, a little glow in the middle. So all these cards are from the same die cut, right? I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Are there any techniques that you want to see with die cuts? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to make a video if I know how to do that technique, of course. So thanks so much for watching. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel and click on that notification bell, and you will be notified every time I upload a new video. I have all kinds of different things on this channel. I have quick tips. I have organizational tips. I have lots of things in the works. So I do hope you'll subscribe. Here's a couple videos to check out. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time.